no vehicle in Australia is more iconic than this. Not against our rugged landscape anyway. This is the new but old Toyota LandCruiser 70 series. It features a 2.8 turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine, which has never been offered for the 70 series before. It might look like a bucket of shit, but this is the next generation model, and it is a big deal for a number of reasons. Mainly, it offers reduced emissions. Toyota, like all brands, will have to meet tough new emissions laws that are coming in place in Australia. It could have just killed it off, but with such a huge demand for these basic but dependable machines, a way to secure its future was to install a 4-cylinder. More on that later though. In terms of the freshened up design, I actually reckon it looks pretty tough. The bulging bonnet might be overcompensating for something, but the boxier shape and new look headlights give it some Mercedes G-Wagon qualities, if you really squint your eyes. Underneath, it is still an old school platform, with live axle suspension front and rear, and a proper ladder frame chassis. This example is the top of the range GXL variant, which comes with 16-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 265/70 all-terrain tyres. These chunky units provide better stopping power over the skinny rubber fitted to the entry Workmate variant. While we're here, check out that awesome approach angle, even with the boxy bumper bar sticking out. Inside, yeah, can someone call 1985? Because its velour seats have arrived. They look soft and cozy, but the trim is actually quite hot and itchy. And it doesn't breathe for some reason, like one of those old woolen blankets that your grandma has. Chuck on some seat covers to fix that. At least Toyota has finally cleaned up the center console area and provided some storage and cup holders with the new model. There's also a fancy new instrument cluster. The seating positions are very high and the window sills are very low, so you can easily perv on passengers in the car next to you. Rear seat accommodation is limited to a basic bench seat with no flip down armrest or cup holders, but at least you get power windows now. So what about that engine? Yes, the V8 is great and probably more reliable, but this 2.8 is smoother, more refined, and uses less fuel. And it comes with an automatic, so now you can have a pie and spray sauce on it while you're driving. It actually offers 70 Nm more torque as well. As a result, acceleration is no longer a painstaking event. With this new engine, it's definitely a smoother vehicle to drive than shifting gears, the big gear stick in the V8. I mean, it feels engaging, but yeah, this is just much smoother. You just hit the accelerator like a normal vehicle. I think this engine is a little bit rougher and a bit louder in the 70 series compared with some other models that Toyota applies this engine, like the Hilux and the Prado. I can just hear a little bit more of the diesel clatter going on, potentially because the 70 series has less sound insulation. I mean, it still hums along alright once you're up to speed, it's just lower in the revs, you can really hear it. The ride comfort is not too bad, there's a few little rattles and things going on in the cabin, but it's all pretty well made, like it's all hard plastic, so it's very hard wearing. There's not too many parts to actually move around anyway. But yeah, I would say the ride is probably average for a dual cab ute. Considering this is a very heavy duty dual cab ute, I think it's not too bad. Big balloony tyres obviously help absorb some of the impacts. But yeah, I could drive this every day without too much problem. Especially if you load up the back, put a few tools and things in the back, it's going to be fairly well settled. Over these bumps here. Yeah, it's not too bad. I've driven some dual cab utes that, yeah, feel much more rigid and bounce around more than this, and they're the body back sort of dual cab utes, not as heavy duty as this. Visibility is obviously excellent as well. You've got thin pillars, even with the snorkel on the side there, I can easily see around that. And yeah, I feel like I'm sitting on the windowsill, that's how high up I am. I've still got heaps of headroom to go as well. I think this engine is a good fit for this vehicle. I know a lot of the traditional cruiser fans are always going to want the V8 or the inline 6, but Toyota had to do something. To reduce emissions and reduce fuel consumption, just a part of the rules and regulations at the moment, they had to do something. And I think this is better than going a hybrid or even fully electric package. This is a good stepping stone. And at the end of the day, it produces pretty much the same power and more torque than the V8 anyway. So you're not missing out on too much. It's just that long-term reliability might not be as good, Okay, off the road now. I'm very keen to see what it's like over corrugations, because roads like this are pretty common in rural Australia, where Land Cruisers spend a lot of their time. So I've driven a few utes down here and most handle okay, but I had the GWM Cannon just last week and it was not handling very good over corrugations. You kind of lose steering as it skips over the top of the bumps, whereas this is remaining pretty good. There is a bit of a rattle going on near the door there, but other than that I can feel the wheels on the ground, and that's probably the most important thing. They're not skipping along. We'll do some off-roading now. There's nothing in here that's that serious. Certainly not going to be a challenge for the Land Cruiser, but we'll give it a go anyway. Put it into four-wheel drive. Is a bit of a weird little notch, but just move the gear lever back and it goes into H4. You've got a little symbol on the dash there. I put it in neutral just to help it go into gear. So the thing is, with heavy duty suspension, it might not be that comfortable around town, but when you're hitting bumpy roads like this, it's able to absorb the bumps and not bottom out or crash the belly of the vehicle. Through here it is, yeah, managing really well, and it actually feels pretty comfortable compared with some other models that might be more comfortable on the road, but yeah, they can't manage as well on roads like this or surfaces like this. There's a bit of a bump here. Yeah, like even that, look at that. It just dipped into the bump and then remained very stable. It didn't continue to bounce like some other vehicles I've driven over the same bump. We'll do that again, going the other way. Even through here, I've got good steering. Yeah, that's done that really well. A lot of cars will bounce around, and you'll kind of lose a bit of steering for a second, whereas that just absorbed the impact and then remained stable. Down here there's a little bit of a mud pit, if you like. Two tracks that we can go through. I very much doubt it's going to bottom out or scrub out the diff. We'll have a listen. Very easy. It's not even a challenge at all. You just get the sense this thing can go pretty much anywhere. And with the tray on the back, you've got awesome departure angle, and the front is actually pretty short as well, so you've got a good approach angle anyway. Down here, this is pretty steep. It might not look that steep on camera, but it's actually quite steep. We do have hill descent control here, so I just hit that button and it will automatically keep the vehicle stable and nice and steady. So that's feet completely off the pedals. Yeah, doing really nicely, as you'd expect. Back up, I'll put it into the worst area. I'll hit this rock up here. With the automatic, it's obviously a bit easier to just steadily drive up situations like this. You don't have to worry about the clutch. And I think the 6-speed is a good match too, because it's got pretty long gearing. It won't constantly hunt around the gears like the Ford Ranger with the 10-speed. Although it's able to divide up the torque and probably provide a wider spread in the 10-speed, this 6-speed just stays in one gear, and the torque just pulls it through anyway. So for now, we'll see what this goes like in terms of performance. I'm expecting slightly better results than what we got in the single cab version, because that was a very hot day. I have got this plan to test it tomorrow, and it's a bit of a cool day, so it should provide pretty good results.